Get way better weather updates anytime with the WWAY Storm Track 3 mobile app. Now, here's Chief Meteorologist Jerry Jackson with your Storm Track 3 forecast. First,
forecast over the past 2 weeks has been feast or famine. Last week we had all that we could stand of sunshine across the region. This week has been just the opposite. Nothing in the world but cloud cover from start to it looks like it could be finished before we finally clear everything out of here. Out west you see 70 degrees currently in Asheville. Compare that to Wilmington. We're at 61. The difference, the amount of cloud cover that you see. The clouds have really been holding tough in the central and eastern Carolinas, and even now that coastal storm system is still parked off the North Carolina coast. Can we clear it out in time for the weekend? That's the question we'll address coming up. WWAY News Channel 3 at 5 starts right now.
live, local, interactive, and in high definition. This is WWAY News Channel 3 at 5.
Now on WWAY at 5, a New Hanover County Sheriff's deputy shot in the leg in Creekwood. Thanks for joining us tonight for your News at 5. I'm Mackenzie Henderson.
And I'm Chris Phillips. New Hanover County Sheriff's deputies in the hospital after being shot today in Creekwood. And
tonight the search continues for one of the men wanted in the shooting. Our team has this story covered from all angles. We start with WWAY's Alyssa Rosenberg live in Creekwood with the latest. Alyssa.
Mackenzie, the Creekwood community is still swarming with law enforcement officers after a sheriff's deputy was shot while patrolling the area. Deputies say just after noon, they began to follow the suspect's car into the Creekwood community, where deputies say both men got out and began to walk around. Sheriff spokesman Jerry Brewer says the deputies were just trying to talk to the two suspects when they started shooting at the deputies. One deputy took cover behind a telephone pole and fired back at the suspects, but the other deputy was shot. Officers caught one suspect, but the other is still at large.
It's a grave concern any time that we have, a deputy involved or a police officer involved in a shooting. Luckily at this point it's a non-life-threatening injury, but as you can see from the show of force here and the multitude of agencies that are here, it is one of our brothers who has been hurt.
Deputies say they are searching for a black male in black jeans, a black hoodie, and a knit cap. Now, anyone with information on where the suspect may be is asked to contact the New Hanover County Sheriff's Department. Live in Wilmington, Alyssa Rosenberg, WWAY News Channel 3.
Okay, thank you, Alyssa. And the shooting happened during a conference here in Wilmington focused on safety in North Carolina's inner cities. WPD is hosting the two-day Peacemakers United Building Safer Communities. Clergy and law enforcement from 18 cities around the state are attending, and they were having lunch when they learned about the shooting in Creekwood.
Creekwood residents have not been strangers to the story of violence in their neighborhood. Today, many said they saw a much greater law enforcement response than usual. WWAY's Sarah Murphy continues our live coverage. Sarah.
Creekwood residents gathered earlier this afternoon to watch the scene unfold. Today, the neighborhood was on lockdown and no one could come in or out by car, which displaced some residents. Although folks we talked with would not say if they witnessed the shooting or if they saw the suspect run, they did have one clear message. They say they are extremely upset that when one of their own is shot here, there is not this kind of police presence.
They let all these other shooters go down, but they don't come like this right here, this strong. Now when this come up in here like they from Iraq or something, hanging out the doors and stuff, that's not right. You can use our taxpayers' money to do this right here, but you can't come out here for the other shootings like that. That's not fair.
Another concern for a lot of parents out here was getting their kids from school. At about 3 o'clock this afternoon, school buses started dropping kids off at the top of the neighborhood. Now, when school buses entered into the neighborhood, they were shadowed by law enforcement. We're live in Wilmington. Sarah Murphy, WWAY News Channel 3.
Sarah, thank you for that report live. Shortly after the shooting, Pender County Sheriff Carson Smith and Brunswick County Sheriff's Chief Deputy Charlie Miller arrived to offer help. Brunswick County sent its new armored personnel carrier to Creekwood. The department got it a couple of weeks ago at no cost to the Law Enforcement Support Services Program. Inside was the sheriff's SWAT team.
And the Wilmington Housing Authority has been trying to figure out how to make its communities like Creekwood safer, and today showed there is still a ways to go in finding a solution. Now we go back to Creekwood, where WWAY's Holden Krawicki is live with more. Holden.
Creekwood residents who I spoke with today say that this whole situation could have been avoided if their concerns had simply been met. At a recent safety meeting, Creekwood residents asked for more patrols in their community, but were told WPD only had 6 officers to cover the 8 Wilmington Housing Authority properties. WHA Board Chair Jeff Hovis says the authority is looking into increased security measures, but these things take time to implement.
Consideration, this willful and wanton type behavior is not something you can actually plan for, but this is, you know, part of the working with the police. I mean, we have been talking to them endless just to try to figure out what the plan of action for this type of situation.
There are security cameras in Creekwood, but many of them are out of service. We'll have more on this ongoing situation in the Creekwood community coming up at 5:30. Live in Wilmington, Holden Kurwicki, WWAY News Channel 3. Chris McKenzie, back to you.
All right, thank you, Holden. This story is getting a lot of comment on our website. Let's get interactive. Public Avenger asks, why are we dumping $40 million into this project? We should empty it out, trade it to UNCW for student dorms. I'm sure glad our brave deputy will be okay, but it's time to realize all the police, deputies, and highway patrolmen in New Hanover County will not stop this $40 million problem. Fear for the children, says Creekwood residents say they're angry because they never saw this many officers when residents were shot in the neighborhood. Well, then just don't send any help in and let the residents handle it themselves. You're never going to make people happy, no matter how you try to handle things.
But Friend says it's not the people who live out here in Creekwood, it's the outsiders that are taking over. And Guest R responds to claims that Creekwood is responsible for these crimes. That person says, according to the story, this didn't even start in Creekwood, making the Creekwood neighborhood a victim of the crime. If someone drove into your neighborhood and got in a shootout, would it be your neighborhood's fault? As always, thank you for your comments.
Quite a story, still ongoing, as you know. Police are still searching.
Yes, and we will be covering it all hour until 6:30, and then, of course, have more updates at 11.
As long as it takes, we'll stay with the story. Now, the national news, there are signs that both sides are talking compromise. The latest on the government shutdown, and Whiteville has fired its police chief. Find out why.
Plus, a UNCW expert says the economy is looking better for the Cape Fear, and George previews this weekend's Seafood Blues and Jazz Festival.
Your last name? Okay. MC.
Yeah, I don't want anything on it.
C,
Just plain grill, no, just plain grill, nothing, no oils, no spice, no nothing.
Okay.
Thanks.
One more. MC. Well, you're on my headset. Hold on, it's MC, capital C-L-O.
Live Surfcast, powered by surfchecks.com. You're watching WWAY News Channel 3 at 5 with Chris, Mackenzie, John with sports, and Jerry with your Storm Track 3 forecast.
Unfortunately, more gloomy weather outside today. Chilly conditions with daytime high temperatures in some cases struggling just to get out of the 50s this afternoon. It was almost a winter-like day of weather all throughout southeastern North Carolina. Now, eventually, things will be improving. It may take us another day or two, though, before we really see those improvements begin to take hold. Let's take a look at what's going on currently now as we zoom in and take a look at the latest radar satellite composites. You still see this big moisture plume plastered all up and down the east coast here, and at the center of this, an area of low pressure, a weak coastal storm that is just anchored off the North Carolina coast. And just look at all the cloud cover extending as far west as the other side of Raleigh. But if you continue west and eventually move out toward the North Carolina mountains, Asheville has seen a decent day of weather with a lot of sunshine out that way. Sunshine is something that has been lacking in great degree around here for the better part of the past 3 or 4 days, and that's going to continue for a little while longer. You don't really see much in terms of severe weather activity showing up. We're a little bit too cool for anything like that. All the really big thunderstorms are to be found farther north and offshore, but for us, it's just a pesky nuisance type rain that we've seen. Patches of drizzle here or there, just gloomy really more than anything else. Now, Pembroke Futurecast into motion is showing this area of low pressure slowly wrapping up the coast, but even as we head into midday Friday, it's still close enough that a little bit of residual cloud cover will be seen across the southern end of the state. I do think we'll see at least a few peaks of sunshine, though, by late tomorrow afternoon, and then by the time we hit Saturday, drier air begins to filter in, and hopefully at least the southern half of the state of North Carolina should be seeing more sunshine, and along with the extra sun, warmer temperature readings. We should be recovering back into the 70s by Saturday and Sunday. So things will improve. It's just going to take a little while longer. Nothing to worry about tropically, though. We don't have any tropical storms or hurricanes to speak of. We'll take you on a quick tropical tour, starting over in the Gulf of Mexico first, where we are remarkably thunderstorm-free for this time of year. Down in the Caribbean Sea, all is quiet there, too, as throughout much of the open Atlantic. But if you head all the way to the African coast, just to the south and west of the Cape Verde Islands, a fairly well-defined tropical wave. We were talking about this yesterday, but today it looks much better organized here. You see the thunderstorms increasing, even some hints of banding features starting to develop, indicating that that low-level circulation is starting to wrap up a little bit now. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of days, but even if a tropical storm develops, the chances of it reaching the east coast very, very slim at this point. Outside today, we topped out at 61, and look at the difference between afternoon and starting temperatures. Not much of a difference at all. That's what we were talking about yesterday. The cloud cover keeps you chilly during the afternoon, but at the night it acts almost like a blanket once the sun goes down, so your overnight lows don't get exactly frigid outside. That's why daytime highs are below normal, yet overnight early morning lows are just about perfect for this time of year, and that pattern will continue outside tonight. So it's still chilly now, 61 dew point at 57, our relative humidity at 87%, wind still breezy out of the northwest at 14 miles an hour. Just about everyone is in either the upper 50s or low to mid 60s, not only locally, but across much of the state. That is until you run out west into the sunshine. Asheville checking in at 70. And most of us tonight, we're not going to be dropping down too low. Overnight lows will be in the mid 50s again under mostly cloudy conditions. Showers, a few patches of drizzle with a northwest wind at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Coming up for tomorrow, variably cloudy, just a slight chance of a few spotty showers or patches of drizzle, but still a below normal afternoon with temperature readings struggling just to hit the upper 60s, northwest wind 10 to 15 miles an hour. Coastal waters forecast a little bit warmer at the beaches, near 70 there. Water temperature in the mid 70s. Seas averaging 3 to 4 feet. Small craft urged to exercise caution. And your Storm Track 3 7-day extended forecast is showing variably cloudy skies for Saturday. We'll drop the rain chances on Saturday, but again, still a few pesky clouds to get rid of. By Sunday, more sunshine from start to finish, and you see how the temperatures respond to that into next week. By Tuesday, we'll be up near 80 degrees, believe it or not, but the chance of rain and storms increasing again by Wednesday. And of course, don't forget this weekend, the big Seafood Blues and Jazz Festival. Should be nice weather for it. Knock on wood.
Yes, knock on
hoping for
wood.
that now, aren't you?
Yes.
The best part about this gloomy weather is that it got me into the fall spirit, and then I know that it's going to be beautiful again, which makes me very happy. I think a week of the fall-like weather is good.
Well, it is a good
the
thing.
gloomy weather
It can
anyway.
be too much of a good thing after a while,
Yeah,
though.
you're
We'll
right.
see.
You're right. All right. Thank you, Jerry.
We have much more to come on WWAY News. Please stay with us.
Jim, do you think we start on? Start on 2 shot.
Start on 2.
Yeah.
Well, Jerry just reminded us on the weather, but happening this weekend, 6-time Grammy winner Buddy Guy takes the stage at the 20th annual Pleasure Island Seafood Blues and Jazz Festival in Curie Beach. But there's much more to see during the 2-day music event, and WWAY's George Elliott is live at Jack Mackerel's in Curie Beach to find out more.
Can you believe it, Chris and everyone? 20 years going, the Seafood Blues and Jazz Festival down at Curie Beach. Right now we're at Jack Mackerel's on Avenue K with this guy. He's a Buddy Guy coming up. He's great. Gail McCloskey is president of the Pleasure Island Chamber. Great time this time around.
Oh, it's going to be incredible. Incredible show, both days.
This guy alone, Buddy Guy, is a great entertainer in the rhythm and blues.
Exactly. He's one of the last true bluesmen, from the older guys that's left, other than B.B. King. And B.B. King says he's the best. That Buddy Guy's the best.
Buddy Guy, yeah,
right.
Exactly. That's something else here we have at the festival this year. 20 years. Now, tonight is the pre-launch, so to speak, party down at Jack Mackerel's.
Yes, it is. We're here. Actually, it's our business after hours that we do, for our membership. And so we're here. We're going to celebrate, get ready for Buddy Guy.
And what else? It's more than that. And where exactly is this going to be taking place and when to start?
Well, it's going to be Saturday and Sunday at the Fort Fisher Air Force Recreation Area. I want to be sure people don't confuse that with the state park or anything. It's the Air Force Recreation Area. The gates open at 11. The bands start playing at 12:30 on the blues stage and 1 o'clock on the jazz stage. There's free parking. They need to buy their tickets in advance. A 2-day ticket in advance is $40. If they wait to the day of the show, Saturday's $50 and Sunday's $15.
You could stay out there all weekend or back and forth?
All weekend. You get wristbands when you come in both days. And so if you need to leave to go out to your car, you can leave the venue and then come back.
That's a good investment. There's a lot of entertainment and more.
Right, we have 14 bands over both stages, so for $40, excuse me, for a headliner, you just can't beat that.
And you've got a headliner, you've got a whole host of music and foods too.
Exactly. There's food vendors. We also have a crafters village, and we have a fine arts wine and garden where you can have wine tasting. We have 2 wineries that will be doing wine tasting, and there's crafts in there also. And most of our restaurants most of our food vendors are restaurants and not just your normal festival fare.
Not just the elephant ears.
Right. It's like sushi. We'll have sushi, and we'll have sushi to pizza to hot dogs, and lots of seafood.
Lots of seafood, of course, for the Blues and Jazz Festival this weekend. Come and enjoy it. We're going to enjoy the pre-party, the after-hours party at Jack Mackerel's. Starts at 5:30 for that. Back to you guys. Hurry.
All right. Thanks a lot. Be sure to watch tomorrow. George will be live in downtown Wilmington to preview the Residents of Old Wilmington Backdoor Kitchen Tour. It's happening Saturday. Explore with George only on WWAY News Channel 3. Weekend's coming up. So many great things going on around our area.
I know, as always, right?
Yep.
Okay. We will be right back.
Explore with George, presented by Blue Moon Gift Shops on Racine Drive. Because why be ordinary when you can moon somebody?
Well, you saw the numbers, all those green arrows over there. Financial markets soared on the first sign of optimistic news out of Washington in almost a month. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up 169 points in just the first 15 minutes of trading. Republicans met at the White House about a plan to deal with one of the issues that has consumed Washington. Susan Salney has tonight's Consumer Watch.
There is a glimmer of hope this afternoon that there may be a compromise with just 1 week left before the United States hits its debt ceiling.
So what we want to do is to offer the president today the ability to move a temporary increase in the debt ceiling, in agreement to go to conference on the budget, for his willingness to sit down and discuss with us a way forward to reopen the government and to start to deal with America's pressing problems.
And there is very little time left. We cannot waste any more time.
President Obama has yet to see any proposal, but White House spokesman Jay Carney says he is encouraged.
The president is happy that cooler heads at least seem to be prevailing in the House, that there at least seems to be a recognition that default is not an option.
President Obama is meeting with members of the House Republican leadership later today. Congressional sources tell ABC News they expect the GOP proposal to come up for a vote in the House tomorrow. Earlier today, Treasury Secretary Jack Lew told a Senate hearing of the dire circumstances of a government default.
We wouldn't have the money to necessarily pay our troops in full. We wouldn't have the money to pay our veterans the benefits in full.
While White House spokesman Jay Carney signaled that the president would be open to a short-term extension of the debt limit, he said the White House would strongly prefer a long-term solution that also reopens the government. Susan Salney, ABC News, Washington.
Staying connected while traveling overseas might get easier for T-Mobile customers. The cell phone company announced it is killing international roaming fees and slashing per minute and text charges. With its Simple Choice plan, T-Mobile customers already have been getting unlimited calls, text messaging, and data at home.
Drugstore chain Walgreens announced plans to launch a prepaid debit card. It will serve as an alternative to cash, but also offer a range of financial services. It's called the Balance Financial Prepaid MasterCard. Walgreens says it will begin rolling out the card and other financial services before the end of the year. Prepaid cards have become a popular financial tool among those who either don't have a bank account or need additional banking options.
Well, hey, watch this. A Canadian couple is selling their dream mansion. It's a mini replica of Versailles, but it is in Ontario instead of France. The nearly $18 million, 24,000 square foot property boasts European grandeur and major luxuries. It has 6 bedrooms, 12 bathrooms, 3 kitchens, and an indoor pool. The mansion also has something the owner calls the ultimate man cave, the Ferrari room, a fully heated garage with marble floors. Well, earlier this week, actor Tom Hanks revealed he has type 2 diabetes. Hanks also said he suffered from high blood sugar for about 20 years. So what can people do to try to prevent diabetes or live healthy with the disease? Holly Furfer looks for answers in tonight's Health Watch.
Having high blood sugar, also called prediabetes, doesn't mean you're destined to develop type 2 diabetes. Making healthy lifestyle changes such as eating a balanced diet, exercising, and dropping excess weight may help prevent the disease. The American Diabetes Association says for some people at risk, taking the drug metformin may help too. In healthy people, sugar enters the bloodstream after we eat. Then the hormone insulin gets involved, helping the body's cells absorb the sugar and turn it into energy. In people with prediabetes, this process starts to work less efficiently and sugar builds up in your bloodstream. With type 2 diabetes, things worsen and people often have to be treated with insulin. If you already have diabetes, you can still make lifestyle changes to help control the disease. In people who are overweight, losing only 5 to 10% of their body weight can help improve their condition. And when it comes to food, instead of a restrictive diet, focus on cutting the fat and calories, but don't skimp on fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. For today's Health Minute, I'm Holly Furfer.
The USDA is demanding action from the poultry company at the center of a salmonella outbreak. California-based Foster Farms is implicated in the outbreak that has sickened hundreds across the country. The USDA is threatening to pull inspectors and free plants unless the company does something today, and that would essentially suspend production. Foster Farms has not issued a recall. Instead, it says the chicken is safe if cooked to an internal temperature of 165 degrees.
And the best cure for a hangover is Sprite. That's what they say. Chinese researchers looked at 57 drinks, including herbal infusions, tea, and carbonated beverages. And Sprite seems to do the best job when it comes to getting rid of a hangover. Researchers think it does that by getting rid of a metabolite from alcohol. The research results are published in the journal Food and Function.
A New Hanover County Sheriff's deputy was shot in Creekwood. One person is in custody and another is on the run. We will have the latest details.
And the Whiteville Police Chief is out of a job. We'll tell you why.
We're looking forward to starting Friday with you. Find out where you can grab a great meal this weekend.
And each bite you take will help raise money for the Wrightsville Beach Beautification Project.
You'll also be helping people in need. The weekend benefits the New Hanover County Meals on Wheels program as well.
Then it's all about the Pleasure Island Seafood Jazz and Blues Festival.
From the music to the food, we run through every detail.
Don't be late. Good Morning Carolina starts tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
Get way better weather updates anytime with the Wway Storm Track 3 mobile app. Now, here's Chief Meteorologist Jerry Jackson with your Storm Track 3 forecast. First.
Well, at least the forecast has been consistent so far this week. Cloud cover every single day. It has just been a gloomy, dreary weather pattern. Hopefully, we'll see a few more peaks of sunshine as we head into the weekend, but some of the latest model projections, unfortunately, are hanging on to a lot of cloud cover even tomorrow and Sunday, too. We'll talk about the changes in just a few minutes, but right now, at least we warmed up some in Wilmington. We're at 71. Look at Charlotte, pushing close to 80, but you can clearly see where the cloud cover is still having an effect on temperatures. We'll get more specific with this storm system over the next few days coming up. WWAY News Channel 3 at 5 is now.
Live, local, interactive, and in high definition. This is WWAY News Channel 3 at 5.
Now on WWAY at 5, we now know the name of the suspect in yesterday's deputy shooting in Creekwood. Thanks for joining us tonight for your News at 5. I'm Mackenzie Henderson. Chris Phillips will join us in a few moments. Crime Stoppers is offering a $5,000 reward for the arrest of a man wanted for allegedly shooting a deputy yesterday in Creekwood. In the lead at 5, the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office says they are looking for 30-year-old Brandon Devin Smith. They say he is about 5'11" and 210 pounds. Smith, who has a criminal record, including several pending charges, is wanted for 2 counts each of attempted first-degree murder and assault with a deadly weapon on a government official. The Sheriff's Office has also clarified some of the details from that shooting. They say Detective Michael Spencer and a WPD detective, both part of the FBI Safe Streets Task Force, approached Smith and another man in Creekwood yesterday when Smith started shooting. Spencer was hit. He is reportedly doing well. The police officer returned fire. And Wilmington police have placed that officer on paid administrative leave as they review the incident. That is department protocol. WPD says the officer appears to have followed proper procedure. A spokeswoman says the department is not releasing his name because he often works undercover. And a day after that New Hanover County deputy was shot, community members say enough is enough and they want the violence to end. WWAY Sarah Murphy spoke with one woman who is demanding change.
As the gun violence continues in the port city, Wilmington Police and New Hanover County Sheriff's Office are working to bring peace to the community. Wilmington Police just wrapped up a 2-day conference of law enforcement and clergy working together to bring peace to the inner cities. The Sheriff's Office participated in a gang awareness presentation Friday as well. Both agencies stressed they cannot fight this battle alone and emphasize community involvement. This message is echoed by some in the community who are fed up and want to make a difference.
To speak and voice your opinion for the safety of your family, it is okay. Because that's you as a parent. If you don't do that as a parent, guess what? Guess what? Your child might be the next one to get shot, not a cop.
Coming up here from North Carolina Gang Investigators Association and what they are doing to combat the problem. In Wilmington, Sarah Murphy, WWAY News Channel 3.
New at 5, the election for Wilmington City Council is less than 4 weeks away. So, we decided to ask the candidates for their ideas about fighting gang violence in the Port City. WWAY's Alyssa Rosenberg has more.
Months of gang violence will be a hot topic as voters head to the polls this November. Candidates competing for 3 open spots on the council discuss their plans for fighting gang violence here in the Port City. One of the biggest problems some candidates talked about is the sense of hopelessness in Wilmington's urban youth. Some say adding athletic, artistic, and academic programs would restore hope in these young people. Others say the sheriff's office and the police department should join forces in the fight against gangs. Another suggestion was to have harsher punishments for minor crimes so these offenders cannot commit major crimes. As one council member put it, we're going to get the bad guys. He says they're going to find them, arrest them, and get them off the streets, the old-fashioned way. Coming up, we'll hear from candidates and what they have to say about cleaning up the gang problem here in the Port City. In Wilmington, Alyssa Rosenberg, WWAY News Channel 3.
And on Tuesday night, City Council will consider a request to fund a gang investigative unit in the Wilmington Police Department. WPD wants to move a sergeant and 4 officers to the unit, as well as a civilian computer support specialist. It also wants to train 10 more officers this fiscal year to get them ready to fill open positions. So for tonight's online poll question, we want to know, should the city pay to fund a gang investigative unit for WPD? Log on to WWAYTV3.com to check out your choices and cast your vote. We will have your results tonight at 11. Wilmington police are also investigating an officer-involved shooting behind the Kmart on College Road. Witnesses say a homeless man pulled a pellet gun out and pointed it at an officer. The officer then drew his weapon and fired toward the man but missed him. A WPD spokeswoman says a man was arrested, but there is no word yet on his name or any charges. New details in a Wilmington murder case. A second suspect, 17-year-old Ramaj Walker, has been arrested for the October 1st death of Angelo Freeman. Police say Walker and Nicholas Bannerman killed the 51-year-old in his Lilac Court home in a robbery that went bad. Walker is in jail with no bond. A Brunswick County man is out of jail on bond after allegedly shooting at a tow truck operator. According to warrants, James Lee Spivey of Ash fired a 12-gauge shotgun at the truck while Gary Smith was inside early yesterday. Smith tells WWAY he was trying to repossess Spivey's truck when it happened. Smith, who was not hurt, says he had to drive away on flat tires because Spivey shot them as well. A Wilmington firefighter has his job back. This comes after he was fired for missing too much work while in jail for a crime he'd later be acquitted of. The city says Robert Hester was reinstated by the city's Civil Service Commission Wednesday. He was fired in April for violating city policy because he could not return to work following an arrest in Virginia. Hester returns to work on Monday. Well, happening this weekend, it is the 20th annual Pleasure Island Seafood, Blues, and Jazz Festival. This year features 6-time Grammy-winning blues legend Buddy Guy, as well as 2 days worth of several other great acts. It's at the Fort Fisher Military Recreation Area in Curie Beach, and for information on tickets and time, visit our website, WWAYTV3.com. Well, hey, watch this. Cape Fear Community College Marine Tech students hit some choppy seas while on a training voyage to Baltimore. This shot from the bridge shows waves at 10 to 12 feet. CFCC spokesman David Harden says the students, crew, and ship are all doing well. They are expected back in Wilmington on Monday. Well, the government has been closed for nearly 2 weeks now, and as this week ends, there are signs of optimism. Meanwhile, some positive news for the North Carolina WIC program. It is back on track for now, but some bears put things off track at one school. They caused a lockdown. And Chris Phillips gives us a preview of this weekend's Backdoor Kitchen Tour.
People's Community Bank presents the 9th annual Little River Chamber of Commerce Shrimp Fest along the beautiful and historic waterfront in Little River, October 12th and 13th, featuring unique vendors, a fun children's area, delicious food, including a shrimp and grits cook-off, and of course, fantastic entertainment. Tickets are $5 at the gate, and advance tickets can be purchased at many local outlets. For more info, visit littleriverchamber.org or call 249-6604. The 9th annual Little River Shrimp Fest is brought to you by Premier Concierge, the Little River Chamber, and these fine sponsors.
8 or 9 home tour? Mic check coming up from the backdoor kitchen tour. Chris live at Alicia Ross's house. Test, 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 test.
Live Surfcast, powered by surfchecks.com. You're watching WWAY News Channel 3 at 5 with Chris, Mackenzie, John with sports, and Jerry with your Storm Track 3 forecast.
Taking a live look down in Southport this afternoon, and every now and then today, the sunshine tried to peek through and made it look like we might actually break out into partly cloudy conditions or maybe even mostly sunny skies. It looked that way at times, but just never really managed to break on through. The cloud cover held tough today, and the cloud cover, unfortunately, may hold tough for a while longer. Each new run of computer models is starting to get more and more pessimistic, unfortunately, with our cloud cover situation this weekend. We'll get into the meat of the forecast and show you what's going on here. Obviously, a big cloud deck plastered across the central and eastern Carolinas. Most of the widespread rain is pretty far to our north this afternoon and evening, but even over North Carolina, a few showers already trying to refire, and it looks like as we head deeper into the weekend, this big area of low pressure, instead of continuing to move on out of the picture, watch what starts to happen as we put this clock along into motion. Not a whole lot changes as we head into Saturday, and if anything, by Sunday, watch how an area of low pressure begins to slide a little farther to the south, actually reversing course, and by the time we head into Sunday, we may begin to open up the door for a new feed of moisture off the Atlantic Ocean. This is not the way it looked a couple of days ago, but unfortunately, that's the way sometimes the forecast pans out. It is a work in progress, that is for sure, and this is exactly what we don't want to see after what has already been a very gloomy week of weather across the region. But nonetheless, that's the hand we've been dealt, so to speak. So we're going to hang on to more than average cloud cover for Saturday and for Sunday, with at least a 20% chance of a few pop-up showers this weekend, probably the better chance coming during the day on Sunday. Now, eventually that system has got to clear out because it's got to make room for the approach of a cold front that will be swinging in here toward the middle and end of next week. Once that front begins to push on through, that should finally bring a more definitive drying trend. Again, we were hoping maybe for a little more sunshine this weekend, but questionable just how much sun we'll wind up getting. At least we do have absolutely no tropical storm or hurricane threats to deal with. As we take you on the tropical tour over in the Gulf of Mexico, things very quiet at this hour. No tropical storms or hurricanes. Down in the Caribbean Sea, the same there. We continue to watch what appears to be a fairly well-organized tropical system trying to develop over to the west of the Cape Verde Islands. We'll see what happens with this feature over the next several days. But as we've been telling you from day one, the chance of this thing ever reaching the east coast of the United States, slim to none. Outside today, we at least started warming up some. We topped out at 72 degrees, so we're getting closer now to our seasonal average after waking up the temperature readings in the low 60s in the Port City. Currently, it's comfortable enough from a temperature standpoint, but still a little gloomy outside. Dew points in the mid-60s. Our relative humidity is 73%. You do see widespread 70s today, so compare that to a couple of days ago when we were struggling just to get out of the 50s. At least we're making improvements in the temperature department. And you can see as we head throughout the course of the rest of the evening tonight, if you're heading out to any of the area high school football games, temperature readings will be in the 60s, mostly cloudy. A few patches of drizzle out there early on, but later tonight we'll fall back into the low 60s. Coming up for your Saturday, we'll call it variably cloudy. If we're lucky, we might see a peak or two of sun. It's not a terrific chance of rain tomorrow, but we're hanging on to a 20% chance of a few pop-up showers. Coastal waters forecast near 70 at the beaches, seas averaging 2 to 4 feet, and your Storm Track 3 7-day extended forecast is showing more sunshine as we head into next week, a better chance of rain and storms on Thursday, and of course, don't forget the Seafood Blues and Jazz Festival. You'll be out there this weekend.
I will be at the WWAY booth and then just having fun listening to the music, and you've been to those in the past,
Several
right?
times in the past. Music's always great out there. You'll have a good time.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jerry. Well, happening tomorrow, the residents of Old Wilmington are hosting their backdoor kitchen tour. George Elliott was excited to tell us all about it, but sadly, he is under the weather. Fortunately, we have just the man to fill in. Chris Phillips is live in downtown Wilmington. So let's explore with Chris for tonight's Explore with George.
Thank you and good evening. We are live. I'm filling in for George tonight. He's exploring elsewhere. He'll be back with us next week. And I'm with a very familiar and very friendly face of Alicia Ross. How you doing?
Hey, great. I'm so glad you're here, Chris.
Me too. We going to eat?
Yes, absolutely. Always in the Kitchen Scoop kitchen, we're going to eat.
Lisa's Kitchen. I come to eat, I'll tell you what. We're here to celebrate and give you a little sneak peek at the backdoor kitchen tour. This is your first, but it's been going on. It's a regular annual event for residents of Old Wilmington. It's coming up tomorrow.
Tomorrow from 10 to 5, and it's 9 beautiful kitchens. Mine's just one of them. I'm really excited to go see the other 8. I know what my kitchen looks like, but you might not, so come on down so you can take a tour. We have trolley service all around town, so if you want to walk, you can, because they're all historic downtown homes, or you can take our trolley, and it's free. The trolley's free, but the tickets are $25 per adult.
There you go. We're going to talk about that a lot more, but first of all, we're in your kitchen giving people a preview. They might have seen it on Kitchen Scoop, but let's scoot out of the way and let Ryan get a pan here. This is a great kitchen. Tell us some of the things you put in this brand new house and new kitchen.
One of the things I wanted to do for my Kitchen Scoop segment, which is on WWAY on Mondays at the 5:30 newscast, is to have the really tall ceilings so that the cameras and the lights and everything could get in here and we could do the filming. But more than anything, it's my kitchen, and so I've got my fridge, my dishwasher, my stoves, my oven, everything that I would need, everything a home cook needs. And then I've got a little bit of everything from friends from the past, family. My daughter did a beautiful tapestry woven art, and also some stained glass from a new friend here in town, Ed Marlowe over at Paddle Wheel.
Cool. Well, it's a beautiful kitchen. I think you have a piece of granite here. There must be a mountain missing somewhere. That's huge.
That is one slab of granite. It's beautiful. We picked it out especially for the bar because we wanted it to be a statement. And boy, does it make a statement, because it weighs like a ton.
You didn't carry it in here, I'm guessing.
No, I did not.
Alicia, it's beautiful. Thanks for having us in. The kitchen is really a very special part of every home.
It's the center of a home for me. It's the heart of the home. It's where everybody ends up. So we actually put our kitchen in the center of our home. This is physically and theoretically all part of the center of the home. That's right.
Alicia Ross, thank you. We're going to stay here in your home. We have another homeowner coming over, as well as the head of residents of Old Wilmington, to tell us about this great tour. But right now, we'll toss it back to you.
All right. Thank you, Chris. What a gorgeous kitchen. Well, if you have filled up recently, you might have noticed it doesn't cost as much. That's because gas is down more than 20 cents on average. And if you want to try Burger King's new lower-fat status fries, they won't cost you a thing this weekend.
Explore with George, presented by Blue Moon Gift Shops on Racine Drive. Because why be ordinary when you can moon somebody?
The government has been closed for nearly 2 weeks now, but as this week ends, there are some signs for optimism. President Obama is hosting lawmakers and groups by party in hopes of getting a breakthrough. Susan Solney has the latest on the shutdown in tonight's Consumer Watch.
Day 11 of the government shutdown began with no sign of the progress that many had hoped for after President Obama and top House Republicans reported that they had an encouraging meeting at the White House.
Let's talk about making our tax code fairer and more competitive.
They are keeping the government closed as hostage because they want to negotiate I don't even know what anymore.
House Republicans went to yesterday's White House meeting with an offer to temporarily raise the debt ceiling, postponing the threat of a government default for 6 weeks, leaving more time for negotiations about how to end the shutdown.
We had a very useful meeting. It was clarifying, I think, for both sides as to where we are.
President Obama has not accepted or rejected the House Republican proposal. Senate Republicans met at the White House for more talks today, but the president and congressional Democrats have made clear that they will not negotiate until the government is reopened.
The position is clear. They ought to turn on the lights. They ought to pay our bills.
Any movement today is likely to happen behind the scenes, if at all.
The way I look at this is it's like two people have been in a boat where the boat's filling with water, but they're doing nothing yet to bail the water in the boat that's sinking in the water.
Just as Senate Republicans were arriving at the White House, Harry Reid, the Senate Majority Leader and a Democrat, said the GOP proposal to extend the debt limit for just 6 weeks is not enough. Susan Solney, ABC News, Washington.
A new report from Wway puts the national average of a gallon of gas at about $3.35. That is down 21 cents from a month ago. Wway says it expects gas prices to continue to fall, possibly reaching an average of $3.10 a gallon by Christmas. The drop is attributed to steady demand, sufficient supply, and a cheaper winter blend of gasoline. Well, Burger King wants you to try its new lower-fat French fries for free. The chain is giving away the so-called Satis Fries Saturday and Sunday. Burger King says they have 30% less fat and 20% fewer calories than regular BK fries. A small serving of Satis Fries has 270 calories and 11 grams of fat. Well, lung cancer is the biggest killer of men and women, but early diagnosis can change that. And the poultry company at the center of a salmonella outbreak has a plan to fix the problem.
Mr. Bodyguard!
Join the folks from Bryant Real Estate and the Pleasure Island Chamber of Commerce on October 12th and 13th as they host blues legend Buddy Guy at the 20th Annual Seafood Blues and Jazz Festival at Fort Fisher. 2 days, 2 stages, 14 world-class bands, including Wet Willie, the Slide Brothers, and Randall Bramblett. Seafood, arts, wine, and yes, a little beer. Once in a lifetime on Pleasure Island. This event will sell out, so get your tickets today.
Early detection for diseases such as lung cancer can save lives, but exactly who needs to be screened is something doctors are trying to figure out. And there's a new trial that might offer some answers. Holly Furfer has tonight's Health Watch.
Lung cancer survivor Donna Craig probably would not be alive today if she hadn't been screened for lung cancer. Craig was a smoker for most of her adult life, then saw an ad in the local paper that caught her attention.
That said, if you'd smoked a long time, we're looking for you. So I thought, well, it wouldn't hurt. So I signed up and had the first scan, negative.
She went back the next year.
Second scan, negative.
And a year later.
Third scan, large tumor. I still had no symptoms of any kind. If it hadn't been for that test, I wouldn't be here.
Craig was screened as part of a national study where she got a spiral CT scan like this one. Knowing who to screen is vital because there's a high false positive rate. But this study and others have shown if you focus on current or former heavy smokers like Donna, more of the suspicious findings really are cancer. While lung cancer is the biggest cancer killer of men and women, diagnosing early can change that.
If you catch it late, the chances of surviving the disease are poor.
Today, Craig is more than 7 years cancer-free.
It feels wonderful. I feel very, very lucky and very grateful.
For today's Health Minute, I'm Holly Furfer.
The poultry company at the center of a salmonella outbreak has submitted a plan to the USDA on how to fix the problem. Foster Farms is implicated in the outbreak that has sickened more than 278 people in 18 states. The USDA demanded the company come up with a plan. It said the company has had multiple sanitation regulation violations. A man was shot after he pointed a pellet gun at a police officer. More on the investigation into the incident on College Road. And bears cause a lockdown at one school.
Hope you're having a great weekend. Start the work week right back here with us.
That's right. The Children's Museum of Wilmington is hosting its annual fundraiser. Find out how to get some goods while doing good.
And you might already be shopping for those spooky Halloween costumes or even trying them on for size this weekend, so send them to us.
Yeah, just go to my Facebook page and you can share your photos there.
We're collecting them now and we'll show them later on GMC later this month. Go ahead and pose for those spooky pictures with your friends and family.
We'll see you at 6.